Okay, go ahead. Yeah, great.
Welcome everyone out there in Zoom land and YouTube land. My name is Edwin Grieve and I'm the vice chair of the Black Creek Oyster Bay Services Committee. And I'm calling this meeting to order for Monday, February 28, 2002. And like to make a comment that, as always, we're doing our business today on the traditional unceded territory of our Comox First Nation. That being said, we're going to call a short recess while we fix some technical problems here. So I guess I can't very well vote on it myself. Would be the procedure. Just call it. Okay, so we're calling recess and we will be back hopefully full streaming at 9:30. Thanks so much. There you go.
Good morning, Director Lee. Hi, Director Lee. I think maybe you're still muted.
Yay.
Hey, I made it. Awake from my winter nap. Good morning, everyone. I'm really sorry. I didn't even have it on my calendar. So here I am chairing a meeting, and I'm going to be reading off the electronic agenda here. So we'll start the meeting off with recognizing that most of you are on the traditional territory of the Comox First Nation. And I'm on the territory of the Lakwitak of this unceded territory. And the next thing on the agenda would be public input regarding the financial plan, item D. So if we could have a report from staff on that, and then we'll receive it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Kevin Duville, our Manager of Financial Planning, is available just to quickly introduce the financial plan this morning. Kevin.
Thank you, James. Through the chair to the directors, good morning. So yes, so Chris LaRose will be introducing the financial plan for the Black Creek Oyster Bay Water Local Service Area. This is just the continuation of our annual financial planning process, and we're kind of getting to the back end of that annual kind of review of all the financial plans. So at that point, I'll turn it back over and have Chris present the financial plan.
Thanks. So, Madam Chair, I think we'll move on to reports E1, and Chris LaRose is Senior Manager of Water and Wastewater Services, and will be introducing the staff report. And I do recognize the time that at 10 o'clock we are needing to move into our EASC. Chris?
Great, thanks. Thank you, James. And through the chair, just bear with me. I'm just going to share my screen. I trust that is up now and visible to you all.
Yes, thanks.
Great. Yes, I've just prepared a very brief presentation to walk us through the proposed financial plan for the Black Creek Oyster Bay Water Local Service Area for the years 2022 to 2026. So first, I'll just start as I typically do with a brief overview of the service. So the Water Local Service Area includes now 3 groundwater wells, with the recent completion of the 3rd production well early last year, and a river infiltration gallery that's used primarily in the summertime. It supplies water to just over 1,000 connections now in the CVRD electoral area C and across the Oyster River in area D, about 70% south of the Oyster and 30% north. And revenue from the service is derived from a combination of frontage tax rather than a parcel tax. So frontage tax and user rates. So first, I'll just start with a couple accomplishments for 2021. So as I mentioned just now, we did complete installation of the new production well in the Oyster River Nature Park. So that was completed on time for the March 31st grant funding deadline. We completed our second of the 5-year highway or the residential meter replacements, not just on the highway, but for the entire system. Approximately 180 completed. We implemented a new connection suspension for the service, new or upsized connection suspension, just arising from lower than expected production from that new production well. We've completed construction of the Schultz Paulson water main connection project. So this was a project that was on the books for a number of years, previously referred to as the Miracle Beach Elementary fire flow upgrade. So what we ended up doing there was working with local landowners to instead complete a looping of the water mains rather than upsizing the line up Paulson Road to the elementary. So that was completed last year. We initiated exploration for additional groundwater capacity, just given the lower than expected capacity of that new groundwater well. We Also initiated design and procurement of some additional upgrades in the Oyster River Nature Park to make use of some of the surplus grant funding that was left after the installation of the third production well. So there was that project came in significantly under budget, and the province allowed us to put forth some more minor projects that had previously been planned to make use of that grant funding. So those will be completed this year. And then finally, we initiated a water master plan for the Black Creek Oyster Bay Water Local Service Area. Here's a couple photos from our busy year last year. So on the left, just a photo of a drilling rig in the park, drilling our production well. Top right, a photo from the tie-in on Schultz Road. One of the final pieces for that project. And then the bottom right is that beautiful new kiosk in the Oyster River Nature Park that houses the third production wellhead and controls. And we, working with the SRD, we settled on this specific wrap that really helps to blend that infrastructure into the surrounding foliage. Our priorities for the year ahead. Certainly, given the fact that connection freeze is in place, our top priority is working to secure additional source water capacity for the service area. We will complete the Black Creek Oyster Bay Water Master Plan. In fact, we're reviewing a draft this week. That's what we hope to be able to bring that through the committee sometime in probably early April, after we've completed our back and forth with the engineering consultant. We'll continue with the residential water meter replacement program. And that photo on the bottom right there is just a photo of one of the Badger meters that we're using. We will complete the remaining Oyster River Nature Park improvements that are funded by that leftover grant funding, and then we plan to switch from the chlorine gas to a sodium hypo disinfection for the service now that we have decommissioned our gas system for the Comox Valley water system, and we're using bulk hypo up at that treatment plant. The economies of scale are there for this system. So yeah, now into a comparison of this year projected cost versus last year. So revenue. So first of all, starting on the revenue front. So due to the COVID-driven delay in the rate review that was planned for this service, we have another interim increase in user rates of 3.8% for this year. To ensure the service doesn't go into a deficit. Consistent with the other water local service areas, we're forecasting a 2% increase year over year for the subsequent years in the financial plan. And that, like I said, that's consistent with our other service areas, and that's just to ensure that keep up with the effects of inflation. On the personnel side, we have a 2.2% increase due to a very slight adjustment in the way that operators are allocated between service and then the regular QP increases. And then operating costs are up less than 1% year over year. And our reserve contributions average $125,000 per year over this 5-year plan. On the capital side, definitely a lower expenditure this year than last. We have some remaining scope, as I mentioned there, on the third well project, or at least making use of that grant application, and then the continued installation of those replacement of our meters. So that's it. So in summary, just wanted to highlight and kind of tie some of our actions and priorities back to the CVRD's corporate strategic priorities. So from a fiscal responsibility perspective, we've this is the third year of some interim rate increases, pending the completion of our comprehensive rate analysis that's now planned for this year, drawing fully on the asset management work that was done for the service and the recently or soon to be completed water master plan. In terms of climate crisis and environment, we're seeking more water source capacity to increase our resilience to the projected impacts of climate change locally. And we're expanding our meters, upgrading our meter program, and continuing implementation of the conservation rate structure. Community partnerships, We are still in negotiation with the owners of the Watuco water system. And there is a prospect that that could be completed this year to help resolve those longstanding issues with water quality in that service area. We have that farm status rebate that's still ongoing and due for reassessment late this year. So that'll be done before we come back to you with the next 5-year plan. And then finally, from an Indigenous relations perspective, we are committed to keeping the KFN Chief and Council updated on all matters relating to water licensing and extraction for this service area, and we will continue to do so. That's all I have today, but I'm happy to support any discussion or answer any questions about the proposed financial plan.
Thank you very much, Chris, for that comprehensive report. Does the Director Grieve have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a comment. I think it's pretty plain that with a budget of, you know, a little more than 100,000 shy of $1 million a year, this is the little water system that could. And I'm happy to see we're switching over to the sodium hydrochloride, is it? No, that's bleach.
Hypochlorite, yeah.
Yeah. No. So anyway, we're switching over to a much more modern system. We already have UV treatment there, so it's pretty state of the art and supplying super high quality potable water. Just a quick question on the Watuco. We brushed on that. Is there any further discussions going on with the Watuco owners at this present time?
Yes, we are. I am engaged in an email correspondence with Jay from Pacific Playgrounds. So I'd say there's a little bit of progress there, but yeah, nothing further to report at this time.
Yeah, because I do get comments from people in that water system that they're tired of a boiled water advisory and the dirty water. Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions because I was aware of most of the things that you've reported here. And I'd like to have receipt of the report, please. Motion to receive.
Motion to receive.
Second. Any objections? Hearing none, carried. And I'd like to back up to the previous report that we kind of skipped over. So Kevin, you reported that there was no public input into the financial plan?
Through the chair, that is correct.
Okay, so I think we should formally receive that report, that there was no public input.
I concur. Let's receive D.
Yes, second. Moved and seconded. Any objections? Hearing none, that's received. And so what we have next is the recommendation, go back to E, the recommendation that the proposed 2022-26 financial plan for Black Creek Oyster Bay Water be approved.
So moved.
Second. Any objections? Hearing none. We don't have new business or addenda or media questions. I think we're down to, we have no in camera. Is there any in camera?
No, there's not.
Okay, so we're down
I'll
to
move termination.
moved second, and anyone opposed? That's carried, and we're terminating. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, we'll see you next time. I'll be wide awake next time.